Welcome, welcome. We are live yet again. I'll give it a couple seconds here just to catch up. But yeah, so today we're going to continue with our file uploader as we have been for the last month or more. I know we did that to-do project, but yeah, we're back at the file uploader again. Day 133, which is crazy. Today will be the last stream of this week. I won't be back until Monday probably. Yo, how's it going, Salty? How's it going, Sword? Welcome, welcome. I probably should have one of those things where it's like the streamer has like the countdown until the stream start, but I don't know. I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to do it. Work's been kind of crazy this week, but it's Friday, so yeah, I haven't had time to even like breathe, honestly. It's been a lot of different stuff going on, but yeah. So today the plan is hopefully to wrap up most of the back end for our file uploader, minus the the file type interpretation. I think that's probably gonna have to come a bit after. But we're gonna finish up this back end hopefully today, so that next week we can start fresh by implementing the front end of the file drive, and then we can kind of get that working and go from there. So without further ado, let's begin. So today, I think the first plan is to fetch subdirectories, right? So the last time we were programming this, we split up the directories with the files, or the files from the directories, so that there are two separate entities. However, when you fetch the contents of a directory, we have to also return any subdirectories that are in that directory, right? Lock-in boys, we're coding. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's get this going here. So we need to go for the drive. What would be the drive? I don't even know if we wrote the middleware for it yet, did we? We may not have. Peak content, no AI. I appreciate that, user. I was just doing some Odin today. How much is left for you? I'm almost done, Sword. I only have a little bit left. Question mark. Yeah, I think I'm 2/3 of the way through the node course. Drive file get. Where was this middleware? All right, let's do const. Oh yeah, but it was from this, right? It was this drive file get. That we're doing the drive select all files in dir, and then we need const directories, right? And then so we need another query. And then so what we'll do is const select all dirs subdirs in directory. Or just all dirs and dir, I guess. Get the user ID as usual, and we're also going to need the directory, right? Which is going to be a directory entity type ID. Just going to make this nice. Cool. What's the problem here? Okay. Okay. I didn't see this first message. Oh, got you. Will you be looking for a job in web dev soon? Probably not, Sword. Probably not. Probably not soon. Got too many other things going on in my life. Maybe next year, maybe in the new year, we'll see. But for the next few months, I just kind of want to lock in on YouTube and focusing on my personal life and my job and these sorts of things. So I'm kind of happy with where I'm at right now. The kind of rhythm that I'm in with YouTube. YouTube's growing. These sorts of things. So I don't know. I'm kind of content where I am. At least right now. That doesn't mean we're not going to stop growing. This YouTube channel is going to continue, and we're going to continue to, produce hopefully good content that people enjoy. However, you know, I don't really want to, get another job and hopefully jeopardize, or not jeopardize. I don't want to jeopardize what the rhythm that I've got going here. Okay, so const subders is equal to await db.select from directory entity dot where and then so we're going to need the directory entity dot user ID is user ID and oh, and the other thing we're going to need to do too is check for the existence of ID, right? Just return nothing if there's no ID given, because it's technically an optional value, I think. Yeah. Okay. Directory entity dot parent ID is ID, right? Oh wait, no, not that. Return subders. Pretty easy query. Almost at 5K subs. Yeah, 4.1 something. Are you looking to work with web dev one day, or are you content with IT? For now, Excelmar, I'm content with IT because I want to continue focusing on this channel, and my job, even though it is kind of busy, it's chill enough that I have the bandwidth to stream after work, these sorts of things. So I want to, keep the rhythm I've got. I'm kind of afraid to shake it up. I mean, that's not to say I won't in the future, for sure. But I'm good with where I'm at right now, guys. Honestly, I'm the channel's growing really well. 5K subs, who knows what'll happen. I was thinking of doing some sort of special stream for that. I don't know what yet. And then, yeah, so I don't know. But it's going to necessitate some equipment, so I don't know when that's a kind of a TBD. But that's the best place to be, honestly. Yeah, exactly. So now we should be able to select all dirs in directory, user ID, and the dir ID. Right, and then now we can return the data as an object, I think. So let's do it like this. Okay, so if that's a queried file, now the other thing that we need to check is const, because if we're querying a specific directory, that's going to be kind of tricky. I mean, actually, you wouldn't do that anyway, so that's actually fine. Okay. We're not gonna make it so you can query a subdirectory, because then you just query that directory directly, right? So that's fine. So in here we'll do files subders, something like this. We'll turn that as an object, right? So yeah, I mean, again, this isn't type safe perfectly, these responses, but I don't know. Yeah, no. There's probably a thing I can do to make that type safe. You have a job you enjoy that pays the bills, but still gives you enough time for your interests. Yeah, exactly. I mean, is it my ideal job forever? Probably not. I'm gonna be totally honest. I want to move jobs in the next year or two. But for this particular stage in my life, for this next little chapter, I'm happy with what I've got, I guess you could say. Because realistically, I don't have enough corporate experience to move up in my current job or elsewhere, because I only really have a year and a half of corporate experience, because I have that 4-month internship, and then I've worked full-time in my current position for about 15 months. So add those two together, maybe I could bullshit 2 years of corporate. So that's not really enough to move up, so to speak. Because there have been some organizational, sometimes there's organizational change, and it's well, it'll require 5 years of experience here, 5 years there, whatever it is. What's my major? My major was CS. You can read my FAQ there. Yeah, that's smart. Honestly, were you always interested in working in IT programming? Actually, no. My first interest was so I always liked computers, first of all. So I was into computers when I was younger, but then I kind of over high school had a pretty bad math experience. So I kind of like shied away from computers because I had this fallacy that going into computer science required a lot of math. So I went heavily into sciences like biology and chemistry, and I took biology as my first. After high school, I did a biology degree with philosophy because I thought I wanted to be a high school teacher. So I wanted to be a high school teacher until I was probably about 20 or 21. And then, the pandemic hit and all these things. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pivot. And then when I was 22, I started my CS program. And I finished that last year when I was 24. So yeah. And then now here I am. So, okay. So, what do we want to do? So we want to get a directory. We want to query from a directory, right? So we need an ID. So let's query from the higher level documents here. And then let's just make sure that the subdirs get returned. So we have the files. And this is the other file. And then we should get the subdirs as well. Yeah, here's the subdirs. So we have journal as a subdirectory under the first, which is right. So we're getting the subdirectories as well. We should actually probably return the subdirs first and then the files, because that's usually how you see it laid out in file systems. You have the directories first, then the files underneath. So now if we refetch that, then we've got the subdirectories up top, which is what we want. How did you cover math? I worked my ass off and so at the end of my bio degree, I did a bunch of extra credits to catch up in math. I did first year calculus, first year linear algebra, and discrete math all in a year as extra credits, working in the summer partially. And then I also did a intro to CS course over the summer as well, like before I started my program, because it was an advanced program that it assumed you had some prerequisites. So there was like a period of about 6 months where I like worked my tail off and took extra courses to catch up. Say in my senior year, I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know I'll become a game dev. Game dev's awesome. That was actually what got me into programming, Vensoran, when I was like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. I started with GameMaker. Like in the early 2010s, I was using GameMaker 8 on my family computer. It was like free, I think. I don't remember. I think it was free. And I made some little games in that, and like I was convinced in like middle school that I wanted to be a game developer. But then that kind of went out the window, and I realized like it's not it's not as easy as like the tutorials make it seem. So around high school is when I shifted gears to the sciences for a while. And then I also have a like certificate, like a minor in philosophy as well, because that was just interesting to me. And I guess I wanted to be a teacher, so I love video games. And realized that I liked playing it more than programming it. Yeah, that's fair. No, I think I still have that love, like appreciation for game dev. I just don't think I don't know if I'm creative enough. I don't think I'm creative enough for it. Okay, so that's good. We finished that task. That wasn't too difficult. So fetch the subdirectories, and then so what's the next thing we need? Implement file movement. Okay, so this is going to be like updating where a file lives, right? So let's bring back our map of our file system that we've got so far, like our little example. So we've got the root, and then we've got the documents, and then I've got a file. So like if we go to root, what file entries do we have underneath root? Oh, we actually don't directly. Okay. So we've just got documents right underneath it. Okay. And then under documents, the first one, we've got these files. So test, journal, and then we've got file, test.txt, file, profile, picture.png. I know I had this written out, but I'm just rewriting it. And then underneath journal, we've got another documents directory. And then we've also got more files, right? Or no files, actually. So we've got journal under there. And inside of journal, we've got that other documents, I think. Yeah. And then, what's it do here? What are the file names for this? BenStack logo. BenStack logo.svg. And then another tests.txt. Right. Okay. So there's our structure. Did you build the front end yet? No, just working on the API right now, Farzan. Good night, take care, appreciate that sword. Nothing beats that feeling of creating. Doesn't matter if it's a game or a website or an app. We create stuff out of a white. Yeah, exactly, Luigi. Sorry to be nosy, but what's the app you use to keep your tasks? I gotta get it back. I gotta get. It's called Obsidian XLMR. Unless you, some people, it's actually become a meme a little bit that people ask about it a lot. But yeah, no, it's Obsidian. And then for the task management, I use a Kanban plugin, which actually, you know what? I'm gonna write a command for that right now. So I'm gonna go into Nightbot, and then we're gonna do a command right this second because I want to get that in here. I use the Kanban plugin in Obsidian. Download Obsidian for free here. HTTPS. I think this is the right link. Let me just verify. Whoops. Yes. Okay. Look dope as hell. Yeah, it's awesome, XLMR. It's really hard when you like something but you have no clue how to find it. What do you mean, like specifically, Imi? Okay, so now Kanban should work as a command. Let's see. It does. There we go. I was just testing it out. Perfect. It's nice to see people still programming without AI. All those vibe coders make me feel bad. Yeah. The vibe coders, though, here's the thing with the vibe coders. It's entirely hype. Okay. I have like the app you asked for. Oh, got you, Imi. Yeah, no. I think the thing with vibe coders is that there's no it's all hype, and the value of the software they produce is only as much as it costs in tokens to make. And that's paraphrased from somebody in my community. Shout out Rob. But yeah. And I do agree with that take. I'm just wondering, why do you also throw an exception if a root directory already exists? I do. So let me go to, here's our root directory. So we actually check that. So what we do, I can actually walk you through the logic here, Farzan. Root dir exists is a query. And then if it doesn't exist, we create it. Otherwise, we return root directory already exists, and we check that inside of our, where do I actually do that? Yeah, our create root directory routine here, where we do a fetch inside of the front end. So we basically check, right, for that. And then yeah, I mean, is it a perfect system? No. But I mean, it does ostensibly work. Sorry, my internet's lagging, so it sent message twice. No worries, Luigi, you're all good. They're smart till they run out of tokens. Yeah, exactly. Like they're basically screwed. Like if you've seen vibe coding streams where they run out of tokens, they're basically like, they have to end the stream because they can't do anything other than like talk to chat. The code AI produces either is really bloated or it doesn't work. Yeah, it's bloated, and also like AI isn't a designer. It's just a pattern, or it reproduces patterns, right? So sure, it can pick up on design patterns that humans do, but it oftentimes at a high level, at least like when you're building like a huge project, it doesn't really put the pieces together well, I don't think. So yeah. All right, so let's get in another. So we're gonna do moving file movement, and then we're gonna also do we're going to do directory movement, right? That's the other thing we need to do. So we need to do file movement and directory movement. Yeah, I saw someone living in their mom's basement trying to escape the matrix with vibe coding. Dude ran out of tokens and bought like a new $200 subscription on an alt account. Yeah, that's like, and the thing is like, I think I know what you're talking about, Luigi, actually. I've seen them around. I'm not going to name drop them because I'm not here to, I'm not here to, disparage or make fun of anybody. But I know the streamer you're talking about. But that's crazy. Like, I don't have that kind of, I don't know where these guys have this kind of money, but I don't have that kind of money. Like, I make enough to sustain my current lifestyle, but I can't just be dropping $200 like that. Yeah, he's live a lot on YouTube, yeah. I mean, I could, but it would be really unwise, Like, and I'm pretty careful with my money. Like, I'm trying to save up for, put money into long-term savings, investments, these sorts of things, so that I can retire, hopefully not at 80 years old. So like my budgets are very tight. I don't know how these guys it's like a lack of maybe financial literacy or what, but I don't know. I could never understand just like on a whim dropping $200 on AI, of all things. AI is good at helping, but people are just using it for whole app or big projects. Kind of funny. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree that AI has its purposes. I just like learning manually, really. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, so implement file movement. Okay, so we're going to do that first. So that's going to be an update query, right? So we're going to go just get our docs open here, just so we can have our reference. Okay. So we're going to say update file move. I think we're going to say export const update file move async. And then, so the other thing that we're going to need to do is obviously we're going to need the user ID from the session. We're going to need the ID of the file, so the file entity type ID, and then also the dir from, and then actually we can get that from the file, I think, itself. I think I just actually, when I insert new file, I need to get the file. Yeah, okay. So that we have the ID and we have the. Do I need to get? I think I can do dir2, and then this will be a directory entity type of ID. So we're going to do a couple subqueries here. So the first step is to get the file we want to move. And where it is. Update the files directory to dir2. Actually, I think that's all we need to do. We actually don't need to do anything with the dir from, because it's all about relations. So that's actually, I think, the only steps we really need. To be fair, financial literacy isn't taught anymore. People would much rather stay in debt their whole life. Yeah, exactly. No, all I'm going to say is, like, I grew up surrounded by people that were very financially illiterate. And not just, like, I'm not, but I grew up around financial literacy, like, when I was a kid, in some sense. Not necessarily illiteracy, but, like, these sorts of things. And I just kind of was like, you know what, that's not a way I want to live, So I've been very careful about it. At least here in the US, it's not, yeah. I hate debt myself. I don't even own a credit card. That's fair. See, I own a credit card, but I pay it off every month. I don't live in America either, so I don't need a credit score. Yeah, I mean, I think credit score is pretty important in Canada as well. I fell victim to credit cards when I was younger, and I'm paying for it now, yeah. Debt is kind of a bad thing for us, but not for rich. They spend a whole life on debt. Yeah. I think the other thing too is a lot of these guys that are vibe coding, and I mean, I don't mean, again, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but I think this is kind of important to say, I think a lot of these vibe coders come from, maybe they're trust fund kids, maybe they have money, you know, from whatever, like whether it's their family, yeah, like trust fund or these sorts of things. So they come from a completely different background. You live in Europe, we don't know credit cards. That's fair, Luigi. Yeah. No, I use a credit card purely for the score because I need it to, like, for example, I need it to give my credit score to rent my apartment, right? Which is crazy, but I did. But my credit score is really high because I pay it off in full every month, and that's the only reason I use it, is just to have that score. That's like really, really high. Debt is kind of a bad thing for us, but not, yeah. I already heard that comment, sorry. There's different types of debt, good and bad. Good debt ultimately makes you more money in the end. Yeah, I don't know. I'm wary of it, of all kinds, but like if you talk about good debt as like an investment, like a mortgage or something, I see what you're saying. Just curious, how do you handle and plan on handling file uploads, like some blob storage with pre-signed URL? Yeah, so far as in right now, just to get it working, I am just literally storing the individual, like I'm literally streaming it into a byte, like into bytes, and then I'm just storing the bytes, but I have a limit of 1 million, 1 megabyte file uploads just for testing, but I'm probably going to switch that Farzan after. Is the code on GitHub? No, it is, but it's private for now, just while I build the project. It will be public though. In America, it's crazy. I do like American cars though, yeah. Then once they get rich, it doesn't matter, yeah. Yeah, no, it's just for testing. As far as like, I don't. This is just a project mostly for learning. So like, if you see here, for example, you can see that the file here is just a stream of bytes, and these are all the bytes in decimal, right? These are all the bytes in decimal, literally listed out, which is kind of, you know. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, then once they're rich, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because they just borrow against their assets, no? That's basically how it works. How do you get help if you get stuck? Google and chat. What's my goal doing this? To become a better developer, Copley. Pretty much. And also to, you know, eventually maybe monetize my skills and help other people, you know, learn web development, these sorts of things. And other things. You know, I also just want to make my own stuff, and who knows? Bro, the whole world we live in is on subscriptions. I am proud to say I only pay about $17 in subscriptions a month. That, not including Amazon Prime, I pay $100 a year for, but my monthly subscription bill, generally speaking, is only around 17 Canadian dollars a month. I keep my subscriptions very, very small. Like, I don't have any streaming platforms. I don't have Netflix. I don't have, you know, all the other ones. I don't have, the only thing I have is Prime. I know, like the old school American cars. Yeah. Geez, that's a lot, Luigi. Yeah. It's a big debt circle. Yeah. To me, that's like existential hell. I couldn't do that. Like, all the money that I spend, I own. Like, I have it. I never borrow anything. I could never live like that. And sure, like, my lifestyle isn't, you know, super immaculate, but I live a pretty average lifestyle. I say I make a pretty average income, live in an average apartment, these sorts of things. And I'm fully content with that. I only have Spotify on my mobile phone. Yeah. I wouldn't count my mobile phone as a subscription though, because that's like more like a bill. Because like the phone is necessary. I pay about $50 a month for my phone. I have to, and that was on a good plan. But I bought this. It's an iPhone 17. I bought it in cash. Like, I bought this for $900 in cash. Yeah, we really did drive off the rails. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. I like chatting. It's okay. We'll log back in after this break. I got 2 minutes. 2 minutes 53 here. But it's all good. How do you even get on the money topic? I don't know. Oh, the vibe coders, I think maybe. I have YouTube Premium too, but I actually don't pay for it because reasons. I'm on a family account that I'm mooching from like 5 years later, and I never left it. So sorry, not sorry. But yeah, I mooch my YouTube Premium. It's all vibe coders' faults. Yeah, exactly. No. It's good, Luigi. I appreciate you chatting, and I don't mind. Here's the thing: when I stream, I open myself up to chatting, and one of the things that I kind of pride the streams in is chatting with you guys. So it's all good. Like I wouldn't be chatting with you if I didn't want to. Like and I appreciate you guys watching, and I want you to feel heard as well. So because mostly what I want to do with this too is not only learn how to program but also build a community. You know, like that's my goal here. And I mean, I think I've been doing decently at that. I've basically, for my metrics, I've like doubled my subscription like sub count in the last month, which is crazy. So the community aspect's really been growing well, which is awesome. AI's fault is big distractions for us freshers. Yeah, exactly. But no, it was, I forget, I think it took me like to get my first 100 subs on YouTube for like building community. It took me a month and a half, right? Like to get 100 subscribers, it took me a month and a half of streaming. And then after that, it kind of grew well, but you know, it's been great. Vibe coders did affect my career. I was freelancing, and vibe coders raised the bar a lot time-wise. Some people expect me to finish a whole site in 2 days. Yeah, exactly, Luigi. It's crazy. But yeah. The thing with vibe code, like the thing is though, I think, and I'm betting on the fact that manually coded software, or at least software that was at the very least audited well by a software professional, has much greater value in the market than a vibe coded AI slop app, right? That is my bet. My bet is that will stay true. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But I think that vibe slop is like, it's only as valuable as the tokens cost to make it. And as, again, paraphrasing from someone in my community, I don't mean to steal his thunder there. I'm learning coding by building my own projects I like. Yeah, it's the best way. Yep. Now I'm learning the Android architecture, building a fitness app in Kotlin with Jetpack Compose. That's awesome. I'm assuming Jetpack's like a Docker. Is Jetpack like Docker? Because you say Compose, I think of Docker. But yeah, that's awesome, Luigi. I want to learn iOS as well, like iOS dev at some point. Because I'm a Mac Apple bro, I guess. I don't know. I didn't used to be, but I've switched over to Apple in the last couple of years, and I'm quite happy here. So I got out of Windows. I can't handle Windows. People can't leave their job at 3 o'clock because their tokens ran out. Yeah, exactly. So what do? React Native? No, not React Native, Sam. It's just React vanilla. The skills a non-vibe coder has is also a superset of those of a vibe coder. Much more than a superset. I would say it's like there's almost no overlap for us, unless the non-vibe coder has skills with AI. Yeah, I game salty, but I don't play like games that necessitate Windows. All the games that I play can be done on Linux. Like I have a gaming rig, but it's I use Fedora Linux on it, and then I have this as my workstation, like my personal workstation is my MacBook. I'm on a job and an intern right now with 2 months experience. We're giving Cloud Code subscription, and they expect us to get max output, but I think I'm losing my skill to actually code. Code in your free time. Oh, I meant instead of learning iOS dev. Got you, Sam. Yeah, I mean, I probably could. The skills would probably be more transferable. You do make a good point. I mean, in the sense that I already have React skill. I think there's React Native. There's a decent amount of overlap there. I knew I was cooked when my teachers didn't really know how to code, and they just abuse AI as well. Yeah, I was actually getting that near the end of my degree, and this was like a year and a half ago, when like models for what was the one, like O1, OpenAI 001 was like the main flagship. Yeah, that's the best way, Luigi. That's the best way. That's what I started doing too. Because the thing is, university didn't really teach me much about building software myself. So, okay, so let's get the file we want to move. So const file is, we'll say, what do we say? Await db.select .from file entity .where and this is pretty easy. User ID. Oh wait, no. File entity .user ID is user ID. Oh wait, no. I need an equals expression here. and then equals file entity dot ID is ID, right? Oh, and the other thing I need to check is if the ID is undefined, we'll return. And there we go. So we have our file now, presumably, right? I think there's a way of just getting the first value of something, right? Yeah, we can just get like the I mean, this does give us a list. We can just use the first. Dot limit. So I can do dot limit 1, I think. And then does that, but that still returns a list though, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. So it doesn't really make a difference. Keyboard sounds ace. Yeah, it's really nice, Sam. Are you currently working while learning web dev? Yes, I am. I work full time. Very nice. Which switches? Brown nano. They're brown switches. I like the brown ones because they are. I should add that to the FAQ thing or the little command. But they're brown. They're brown nano switches. What do you enjoy more, back end or front end? Probably back end, Luigi. Realistically, but I do like front end visual, like with the visual stuff. I enjoy both. But I think back end a little bit more. But front end's fun as well. I like both, which is why I decided to do full stack. Because I do enjoy both. I'm not very good at design, but I like implementing front end. Brown are the quieter ones. Yeah, they're quieter and they're like not as clacky, right? Like it's not just that they're quieter, but they feel more like you're typing on a pillow rather than like, I don't know. I like them. However, I have been having some bounce issues with the switch. So the switches are sometimes causing characters to double type. So I actually just ordered 36 more brown nano switches, but they're coming in from China. So it's taking a while. They won't be in apparently until September. So I got to wait. No, they have not come in yet, but they've been ordered. Yeah, because Nuphy's out of China, I guess. I didn't know that. But they were shipped out of Wuhan, China. I got a notification a couple days ago that they're shipped. But 36 brown switches was only what, 25 Canadian dollars with shipping? Like it wasn't too bad. I work in IT, Luigi. So I'm in mid-level IT. Don't get blue switches, it's loud. Yeah, no, I'm getting brown. That are compatible with my Nuphy Kick. So what's your thought process blueprint for building this Google Drive clone? Just curious how you're putting everything together. So the original idea, and I'll walk through this again. I don't mind walking through this. So the original idea came from the Odin Project. Odin Project. Jeez, this is not what I want. And then, so this is the original, the idea was from here, right? And so this is where I got the topic. And then I kind of just planned it myself off of that. Imagine all the yapping more you could do letting Claude rim. Yeah. Fair enough. No, I don't mind talking. Nice streak. I'm starting to learn web dev too. Would you learn DevOps? Yeah. But yeah, no. So I'm using this, and then basically what I do, Abo, just to finish answering your question, I plan out the different tasks I need to do in this Kanban board. So I have in progress tasks, I have planned tasks, and then complete, and then some that are on hold as well. And then I just kind of make things up as I go. Isn't it mentally exhausting combining an IT job with programming yourself? I had that issue myself. My job is super chill. Like, I mean, it's not like it's not as like my work is not super technical. Salty's on fire. Yeah, Salty is on fire. Shout out Salty. But yeah, no. So what was I gonna say? My job's a lot more administrative work. 90% of my day is in meetings, emails, and kind of planning, like writing stuff, like planning, project planning, these sorts of things. So I don't actually do a lot of technical work. I probably only do about an hour or two of technical work a day. So I have the mental capacity to do this after work, I guess. Makes me happy. People still see people using Odin Project. When I landed my first role, that helped me get up to speed without asking the senior devs too many queues. Nice, Sam. Yeah, I used it mostly 'cause, like, I've been familiar with the Odin Project for like 3 years. I just never got my shit together and did it. Um, but yeah, no, it's a good guide. I'm not using the technologies they recommend. I'm using my own stack, but I'm using it as a general guide. That's better, man. I had software dev job while I was still learning. Yeah, that could be tricky. But no, IT, the nature of the work is so different in the sense that when I come to stream, I don't feel like mentally tired from like solving technical stuff, right? Okay, let's continue writing this here. So we have our file. So first what we need to do is check that the file exists. So actually we don't need to write a comment. We can just kind of do it. So let's say if not file, return as well. And this is just returning, null, which we can check for inside of our middleware. We don't need to error check necessarily in here, although we'll do our try catch as well, just in case there's a, oh wait, not an Emmet abbreviation, hold on, try catch. Because in case there's a query error, this will catch that query error, but as far as any other error, like not being able to find a file, like that should be handled by the middleware. So got a comp sci degree as well. I haven't been able to get any tech roles. I've been a graduate since 22. If I want to get into your current field, what would you recommend? To IT, because I can give recommendations for IT, but I can't give really recommendations for software because I've never worked in software. I'd like to maybe someday, whether it's through myself or another employer, who knows. But yeah, work on your profile. Networking is number one for sure. That's how I got mine. Yeah, for IT. Networking for sure. Help desk, the barrier to entry is pretty low. People online will say it's high, it's not. So just do help desk for like a year or two to get a bit of experience. I did help desk because when I was in my internship, and then I landed a role after that. I got a return offer. So yeah, I mean my route was pretty linear, but I think getting into help desk, like being okay with doing help desk is the most important thing. Like I did help desk for what? Like my internship was like 4.5 months. Yeah, Canada is similar. I got really lucky. Abo, I got really lucky with my employer. I wanted to work in software, but IT is where I ended up. So it was really just luck, and also like what was I gonna say? I am working for somewhere where like I had known of the place before I even applied. So like I already had, I'm not going to say a connection necessarily, but I already sort of, well, it was kind of a connection. I had kind of a connection before I even applied. So they already were like familiar kind of with who I was, which again was lucky. So, all right, let's continue forward here. So we're going to say const moved file. Well, actually, no, we're just going to await the query, right? Const moved, file moved. Or what should I call this? I don't know. Because what does an update return? Does an update return anything? Does it return the updated thing? Yeah, the updated ID. Okay. Updated location. Or updated dirt, I should say. And then we'll say await db.update file entity dot set, and then we're going to say dir id to dir2, and then dot where equals or and as well. We need that and clause, and then equals user, or no, we don't even need to get the file first. Now that I think about it, because we just do that where here, so we don't actually need this step. Now that I'm seeing this, we can all just do it in one. So we'll just say user file directory file entity dot user ID is user ID, and file entity dot ID is equal to ID. And then dot returning updated dir ID is file entity dot dir ID, probably, right? And then so what we can do is we can say if updated dir. Well, actually, we can just return this. No, we don't actually need to return it as an object, or maybe we do. Just call it ID then. If updated dir.id is equal to our directory 2, then, and now this is going to be property ID does not exist on type. Updated dir 0. Because is this let me see. It's a list of things with the ID attribute, right? I could just do because it's possibly undefined. If updated dir. Well, that doesn't help. There we go. Then we'll return the updated dir. Otherwise, we'll just return, right? Okay, cool. It's an array, yeah. You want something like limit 1? Well, so the thing is, Sam, sorry, I wasn't looking at chat. Gotta go, busy day tomorrow. Thanks for the talk. Appreciate that, Luigi. Okay, so yeah, the problem with that is even if I do a limit 1, it still returns it as an array. So even if I dropped in like a limit 1 here, I mean, I could just for, you know, or does limit have to be after? Oh, you can't do limit on updates. Never mind. Maybe you can't. You can do limits on selects, but not updates. It seems like. What feature am I coding? Yeah, I'm coding CRUD operations. What ORM is this? It's Drizzle. Drizzle ORM sitting on top of Postgres. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on the CRUD. Right now we're working on the update part. So this is a query to move files from one directory location to another. So that query should work, right? In theory. We don't need that. Now, okay. So now in our controller, we need to write that move. So what we're gonna do is, I think we do a put, right? I think for rest, I think we do a put. And then we can kind of include the rename as well. And then so we'll pass in the attributes as what? So let's just export a constant here. So export const drive, it'd be a dir modify or dir update put. I think it's a put. Context, right? Okay. I'm also using Hano for the backend instead of Express, just you know. I think I already implemented this, so that's fine. And then so we've got our posts down here. I really do need to organize this. Then I'm going to put my put here. So drive router dot put slash dir slash And then I think we're going to need to do we do it as a, Now, I think the other thing that we're going to need here from this is also the dir from, because as we mentioned, oh no, but we're doing the ID, so never mind. We're not selecting by name, we're selecting by ID, so that's actually fine. Although I do think we need to select file by ID query as well at some point. Okay, MySQL and Drizzle supports limit on update, but not Postgres. Yes, I guess that's true. I've never used MySQL before. That's fair. Okay, so I'm just thinking about what I need for this. Okay, so this was, what did I call this? Drive dir update put. Or no, yeah, dir update. Actually, I should probably call this file dir update. Or no, file update, not dir update. That's my bad. Okay, because we're technically updating the file, right? And this isn't dir, this is the root, because we're doing, so the root directory is our drive, right? So / drive, and then we're putting to the root. And then I think that's it. That's all we need. Because we'll do queries. Because we could do like something like a /move, but I don't think that is, or /update, but I don't think that's RESTful. I'm pretty sure. You can probably simplify that function. If not updated dir 0, throw a new error, file not found. Yeah, so I could. Now the reason why yeah, you're right. That I could do that. But basically, how I'm handling errors is I'm handling the errors at least for file not found inside of the. I'm not handling it. This is the database query, right? I'm handling it. The ID is not. The ID is nullable. The ID is nullable. I don't remember exactly why. I don't think it should be necessarily, but anyway, the ID is nullable. The other reason is I'm handling the error stuff inside of the middleware. So this middleware is going to make a call to this function, and then based on if the response is this, again, this is probably like not. I'm not going to claim I've got all this figured out or anything, but how I've been doing it is if the reply from this is undefined or empty or null, then I handle the error like could not be found like within the middleware. That's usually how I've been handling errors. Is I catch it in the middleware, not in the query. I don't know, like, again, I don't know what the exact best, way to do it is, but that's just how I've been doing it. So the error does get caught. It's just in a different level. Just started my journey in Odin last week, and I'm on your VOD day 23. Wish me luck, by the way. Your VOD is the best. It's like having a classmate. Thank you. I appreciate that, real. I appreciate that. Okay, let's stop. Screwing around here. So we're gonna get our user. And then, so we have this code, honestly, in every single, I should probably pass this through each, like I could probably put this as another middleware function, and then do like a next or something, but that could be like a refactor down the road, because I'm getting the user from, where is it? This function here, the session validator. That basically gets the session, and then if the session exists, it sets the user and the session variables to be used. But then I could probably put that into another, middleware or something like that. Anyway. Okay, so let's do this. So let's say const. So how are we going to get the stuff, right? We need to get the stuff. The way you're learning coding and interacting with chat is insane. Not gonna lie, nice job, man. Appreciate that, Sam. I try my best. It's kind of a lot of context switching. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like I've gotten better at it as time's gone on. Although it's getting to a point now with my audience where like coding and talking to chat, depending on how busy chat is, it's just not manageable. So I do rely on you guys to have a little bit of your own conversations as well, because I can't reply to each and every one of you. Unfortunately, I try my best, but okay. So I think we're gonna do a query, or we're gonna do a param for the ID. No, I think we're just gonna do a query. So we'll say const file name is c.rec.query file name. Right. It's okay. Half of us are bots. Yeah, fair. That is true, Hated. I believe that, I think all of you are bots. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty solipsistic, but okay. No, I mean, it's weird because I talk to you guys and I know you're like real people behind screens, but it's kind of weird because it doesn't feel like that sometimes, right? Now I think I need to we need to check whether a file name was defined, right? Because if the file name's not defined, then what we want to do is we probably want to do a return c.json, like success false, and then like a message, no file defined for to update, or something like this, right? Something like this. Okay, so now the other thing is I think we need to write another query to fetch a file based on its name inside of a directory, right? So we actually may need to pass the directory as a param, now that I think of it as well, because files may have the same name in different directories, right? So we actually do need to pass the dir ID as a param, right? So the other thing I need to define that here, which is fine. And so I think, okay, now we need to fetch the file, right? So we're going to do select file by ID. And then we're just going to get a user ID type, and then we're going to get a dir ID, and then a file entity type. Oh, this is a dir ID as well. Is dir ID, and then a name, right? Now if no dir ID is given, return or no name. Well, actually, we're going to try catch this first. That catches any query errors. Okay. If your username ends in 4 numbers, you're not real. Yeah, valid. So we're going to say const file is equal to await db.select. Shit. Dot from. If I could like type properly, and the reason I'm using Drizzle, by the way, is because it's really close to SQL. So we're going to say equals. I'm just going to finish this up. User ID, and then we're going to say equals file entity dot dir ID is dir ID, and the name is equal. Right? And then we'll do a limit 0 on it, I guess, or a limit 1, not limit 0. That'd be ridiculous. And then so what we'll say if file 0, return file 0. Otherwise, just return. Okay, that should be fine. Isn't Drizzle for SQL migration stack? I don't know. Is it SQL undercode? Yeah, it is. It is. It's an ORM. So what I do is when I migrate or when I generate stuff, you can actually see, wait, let me go into my database here. You can see all the generations. This is just generating SQL, right? And you see these migrations. Well, every time I make a change, it makes a new migration, right? So that's kind of that. So yeah, taking another break. I also think Luigi left. I think he said he had to leave. So I don't think Luigi's in here anymore. Sorry, I'm back. No worries, Salty. No worries. Got me some Mexican super fries. What is a super fry? I've never heard of a super fry. Luigi was real, yeah. He was real. What do you do on the breaks? I've not tried this Pomodoro thing before. Basically, Sam, I just kind of don't. I try my best not to look at the code that much or I just kind of stop typing and talk to chat. That's kind of what I do. At least on the breaks when I'm not streaming, I usually like go on my phone or get up and walk around, get a snack, fill up my water, do something like that. That's usually what I do. It helps me kind of take a mental break. May I know the whole tech stack of this project? I got you. The whole tech stack is here. I describe it in this paste bin here, Justin. And that's, yeah, so Salty just linked. That's the Pomo app I use, Sam. So it's a free, just a free web thing. And then I just kind of capture it and put it in the corner with Streamlabs, so. And yes, I use Streamlabs because OBS on macOS apparently is buggy, so. Smooth, I appreciate that, Jetty. Four numbers, Justin. Joining from Ghana. Nice to meet you. That's awesome. Ghana, I don't know if we've had anyone from Ghana, actually. So I love you guys telling me where you're from because it's so cool. Like, I have such a global audience. It's really awesome. But that's awesome. It's probably pretty late over there, I bet. Yeah, here it's 7:56 p.m. But I'm on the east coast of North America, so. I'm from Minnesota. Yeah, that is basically Canada. I'll let you guys, Minnesota is like of all states that are like Canadians, like are like Canada, it's Minnesota. So is Minnesota Central or Eastern time? I think it's Central time. 11:57 p.m. here in Ghana. Got you, Jetty. Nice. Yeah, Minnesota. I have some family actually. It's funny. I was at it's Central. Okay, that's what I thought. I have family in Minnesota actually that I didn't meet until last month. I went to a little family reunion, and I met some second cousins from Minnesota that I did not know existed. So that's cool. I have a lot of American family actually, especially on my dad's side. Well, I have American family on both sides, but on my dad's side especially. But yeah. We bought land from you guys so we could be in the northernmost state. Then Alaska decided it wanted to exist. Yeah, exactly. It's that little part of Minnesota that juts up into, I think is it Eastern, or is it Western Ontario, or is it Manitoba? I think it's Manitoba. Or maybe it's Ontario, I don't remember. But there's that little part of Minnesota that like has that lake or whatever. I know exactly what you're talking about. Lake of the Woods, got you. Yeah, I've never been out there though. I've never been, you're part Canadian, part Mexican? No, I'm actually... It's Manitoba, okay, yeah. Well, I'm fully Canadian. My citizenship is only Canadian. But I am ethnically half. Well, if you want to say like half, I'm ethnically half Portuguese. My mom's side of the family is 100% Portuguese from Portugal. Why is the timer counting down? It's just the break, Ninja. I got two monitors. Yeah, I have I'm using my laptop over here where chat is, and then I've got my main monitor that you guys are seeing. It's two monitors. I'm doing it off. Oh, it is Ontario. Okay. But yeah, no, I'm doing it off. I have like my laptop here, and then I've got the monitor that you guys are seeing. But I've got chat and the Pomo timer open on my on my laptop monitor, which is on a stand. I should do a setup pic at some point and show you guys what the setup's like. But no, it's just two monitors. But yeah, I just use like the default MacBook M4. And it served me fine because I can't afford any more than that, to be honest with you. Like that cost me, this MacBook cost me 2,700 Canadian dollars when I bought it 2 years ago. Or it was like 26 something. It was stupidly expensive. Because the Canadian dollar against the American dollar is insane. Like, sure, it might be like 1,800 USD, but you know, 1,800 USD is like 2,600 Canadian or whatever it is. So the Canadian dollar is super weak right now. We're brand new nowadays. They're still like 1,800 USD. Yeah, but when you translate it to Canadian dollars, it's like 2,600 USD or Canadian. So yeah, it's kind of shitty, I guess. But you know, for a long time when I was a kid, the Canadian and the US dollar were pretty much one to one. But now it's like one Canadian dollar is like 72 US cents or 71 US cents. It's really low. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, no, I'm probably, I don't know, if I get another MacBook, I'm going to need to make a hell of a lot more money because I want to, if I do get another MacBook, this one served me fine, but I would probably get one with more RAM. Because I do notice my machine chugging a little bit when I stream. It's not that bad, but like sometimes I can notice it a little bit. I'd probably get one with like 24 or 32 gigabytes of RAM if I could afford it. You're right on the nose with the 0.72. Yeah, it's because I just looked at the conversion rate recently, Salty. Mac Mini? Yeah, I could. I just like the convenience of having a laptop. I do remember you, HMU, of course. Welcome in. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so if the file name's defined, then we need to do that query, right? We need to get the file. Or do we even need to get the file? Yeah, we do, because we need the ID. So what we need to do is we need to say const file is equal to await drive query dot get dot select file by ID, or by name, I should say, not by ID. Should be by name. And then we're going to need the user.id, the dir ID, and the file name, right? Now the dir ID is going to yell at me because reasons. No file defined update or no directory defined in or no directory parameter defined. Okay, so we'll get that file. What's the difference between name and ID? Name is like the text of the name, and then the ID is an identifier. It's a UUID. It's just like a string of hex, I think. Get an enterprise laptop like Dell or Lenovo for 900, install Linux, what the hell? Fair enough, hated. I actually do, you know, have a, I stole a laptop from work, a T490. No, don't worry, Dr. Cool, you're all good. Peak, appreciate that, Waddy. Yeah, no, the thing is, I really do enjoy macOS, so for me it was worth it. But I also really like Apple Silicon because you know I'm a bit of a sucker to Apple. But you know, I use Linux on my other machine. I'm not anti-Linux by any means. I have an MacBook Air for on-go and Mac Mini for desktop work. Nice, Sam. That's pretty. That seems like a reasonable setup. But for my purposes, I think a MacBook Air plus a Mini is like more expensive than just a MacBook Pro. I think probably. Yo, how's it going, Bland? But yeah. You know, I got this laptop last year, so it's gonna last me. I want at least until 2030. I hope. I usually try to get around 5 years out of the laptops I own. My last laptop was a Lenovo Legion gaming laptop, which had Windows on it, and then I got rid of that last year. Kind of cool to think that your whole OS is open source, so you can improve it yourself. No, I get that, and I have used Linux before. Like I use Linux on my gaming rig. I just like when shit just works. I don't like things like if I'm doing something for work, I don't like it just breaking on me because sometimes it does. Like on my gaming machine, like sometimes a package will just break or whatever. I know that's like the fun of it, but Linus is vibe coding now. Yeah, that's crazy. That is wild. Okay, so we have our file, and then what we'll say is file.id. So if not file and or. We'll do a return c.json. Success is false, and then message is file with name, file name could not be found in the directory given. Something like this. How can you write code without any flowchart? Kind of insane. Yeah, I have a planner. Mr. F1T. I use this planner to kind of know what I'm going to implement next. Cool project. Appreciate that, Rocco. ID is more database related, while name is the username most of the case. Yeah, the name is like the name that's actually like the textual name. Like for example, like if you name the file like test.txt, that's the name. Like I'll even show you guys. Let me go into my database. Did I close it? No, I didn't. Okay, here it is. So if I go to my file entry, you can see that the ID for this file is this long string of hex, right? It's a UUID, okay? I think it's 128 bytes. Doesn't really matter. Now the name is right here. The name is this test.txt, right? But the ID is just an identifier, right? It's like a fingerprint. Hey man, I got an HP Elite with 6th gen Intel Core i7. Do you recommend I get a new laptop? Yeah, that sounds kind of old. I mean, you could probably put like a low spec Linux on it or something and be just fine. They're all pilled now, aren't they? The ones who protested against it have just given into the hype. Yeah, I'm never giving into the hype. It's not to say I'll never use AI, but I'm never going to let myself get to that point. I think, you know, for Linus's credit, maybe he feels like he's already done his dues, and he feels like he can just let the machine do it now. He's done enough manual coding for a lifetime. I don't know. Maybe he's just cynical like that. I don't know. I don't know. I would like easy way to draw flowchart, but man, I hate writing UML code. Yeah, UML is kind of annoying. Is it true that UUIDs are slow for databases on a larger scale? I honestly don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe someone in chat does. Okay, so now we have the file ID. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const updated directory. Oh, and the other thing that we need to do is we need to give it what directory we want it to move to, right? That's the other thing I didn't consider in this, is we need to give it a new directory to move to. So we'll actually get that as as an ID as well. We'll get that as a query, rather. So actually, we need to check for that. So we need to say dir ID and then dir2 is equal to c.rec.query dir2 ID. And just for clarity, this is the dir from. And then so we're going to get this, and then the other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to check for no file defined to update, no directory to move to, or no directory to fetch from defined. Something like this. It's just a catch-all. I could do specific error messages here. To be, you know what, let's do that actually. We'll say if not stir from ID, we'll say return, just to have different messages to be more helpful. Message, no directory provided in query, or no directory parameter provided. We'll say that, and then we'll say else if not file name. I mean, this isn't the best way of doing this, but you know, it's fine. No file name given. Something like this. Okay. But have you thought of start or write test instead of Postman manual? Yeah, I probably should hate it, to be honest with you. I honestly can't deal with the headache of getting it set up. I had a developer in my company who left now who said it makes things slow in the long run, but on average our app has like 2,000 customers. Oh, that's fair, Rocco. For the UUID. But yeah, no, I should probably be writing tests, to be honest with you. I'm just like being lazy. But so technically, I'll actually get into this a little bit. Technically, we have testing as a thing that's coming up for Express, but I would imagine Hano has a testing framework, right? Testing is important, yeah. So they use vtest or vtest. So I have a Discord server. Asking because they're basically writing themselves here with the catching you're doing. Yeah, exactly. They are indeed. You know what? You do bring up a good point. Hated. You do bring up a good point. If I have time off stream, I might add a couple tests or something. No worries. No worries, Watt. You're all good, my friend. But yeah, feel free to join the Discord and talk to my community. But yeah, no, they are writing themselves for sure. Yeah, if I you know, I should. But let's get back to it here. So we're gonna do our updated directory is equal to await drive query dot, what would I call this? Update file move, and then we're going to give it the user ID, or no, user dot ID, I should say. The ID, which is going to be file dot ID, and then the move to, or the dir to, which is going to be the dir to ID, right? And then we're going to say if updated dir, you know, if updated dir dot, I think it does it have, what are we returning from this? Let's just make sure. I think it's just that, right? Returning updated dir, oh, return updated dir 0 is what we want to do, actually. Then we will say return c.json success true, and then message is, or we'll even just say data is the updated dir dot ID, right? And then otherwise we will do we'll throw a an exception, I think, maybe. Do we throw an exception or return? Maybe we'll just return. File was not moved. Now, this is where the file was not moved. Check, ensure directory ID for the file, or the directory, dir ID for the dir to move to is correct. Something like this. It should be fine, because that would be really the only reason it would fail, is if this was not a valid directory, right? Yeah. Although actually, it's not checking whether this is valid or not, is it? That's probably also what we should do. We should also check that the directory that we're moving to exists. That we should do. I should actually, I forgot that. So what did I, there we go. So we need to check that as well. So we'll say const dir to exists is equal to await derive query dot select dir by user dot ID, and then what the, oh, we don't have the parent ID, do we? We need another query, selector by ID. So this is a selector by name. Which we're going to need to change. Selector, so let's find them all. Is that it? Oh. Or am I using that selector somewhere in here? Ah, by name. That's it, okay. And then we're going to do a selector by ID as well. Way to go, brother. I appreciate that, Jen. Select dir by ID. And we'll do our just our ID. Right, and then we're gonna do a try catch, throw error. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say const dir exists, or we'll just say dir is await db.select.from directory entity dot where and equals user directory entity dot user ID is the user ID and the IDs match. This is all this is very standard stuff, right? I keep accidentally putting semicolons. I think that's not what I want. And then return dir. Return dir 0 specifically. Good. Nice. Okay, so now we have that select dir by ID. Now we're going to do this in here, drive query dot select dir by ID, and then we're going to give it the user ID and the dir2 ID. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to say if not dir2 exists, we're gonna return our other results. So we're gonna say return c.json success is false, and then message is file or directory to move file to does not exist or could not be found. Something like this. Chad, I'm close to 12K commits in the last 365 days. Is it bad? 12K commits in 365 days is what, like, what are you averaging? Like 50 commits a day, roughly? It's kind of wild, Hated. I'm not gonna lie. I think mine's like, how many, I don't even know, where do you see how many commits you've made? 30 a day? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess it's more like 30 a day. That was like very tired math. Yeah, because 50 a day would be more like what? Like 20K maybe. Yeah, no, it's about 30. Oh, is it 15K? I don't know. I'm like tired, man. Let's see. Let me go to my GitHub. How do I see how many commits I've done? Is there a way to see that? 2026. Bro. How to see number of commits you've made. Let's see. Yo, hello, test. Go to profile overview section. Okay, I'm doing it on my monitor here. Profile overview. I see the contribution activity, but it doesn't show number. Trying to find it, guys. I don't want to like leak shit, so I'm doing it on my other monitor, so I have to like hide chat. I want to see this though, because I'm curious how many I've done. Settings maybe? I guess it wouldn't really be under that. Ah well, not gonna sweat it. Should say at the top of the graph. Does it? I didn't see it on mine. Or no, it's not a graph, but it's like the grid of squares. Or is there like a way to activity overview? Ah, that's it. Okay, there it is. Activity overview. 100% commits. That's pretty funny. 538. That's where it is. I found it. Yeah. I didn't know where. I didn't know where to find. I found it. I found it. Yeah, 538 commits. What time is it in my area? It's 8:23 p.m. Yes. 500. That's not too bad. I wouldn't say 500 commit. I mean, I'm not like a pro gamer like you guys are, but it's not too bad. So, considering I don't use AI and all that, right? Not accusing you of using AI, by the way. I'm just saying. Okay. There we go. So we're gonna get to 1,000 by the end of the year. Pro gamer, I got 46. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I have been grinding on this, right? So what's 523 divided by 180? This is like a 5 commits a day ish. No, 4, realistically. 4 commits, 3 to 4 a day. I mean, I'm also jobless for a year. I used to do marketing. Oh, nice. Hate it. Marketing sounds like miserable though, honestly. I couldn't do it. Okay, so this is like pretty good. I think this will actually work. I mean, famous last words. Where are we getting an error here? Dir ID is not assignable to type string. Select all files in dir. Yeah, so we need this to be definable, and the dir ID, we're not sure if it exists, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say if not dir ID, then c dot j or return success false message no directory. Something like this. Okay. Cool. It was a lot of dollars, fair. That's just this month, I guess, since there's a new GitHub account. Oh, got you. Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so if you take 523 divided by 6, that's like what per month? Like 80, 85 commits a month-ish? Something like that. So then per day, yeah, it's like 3 to 4 commits a day. 3, realistically 3. Makes you second committer in my country. Damn, hated. I'm assuming you're not American then. Given all the vibe coders out there committing million commits in a year, probably, right? That's a bit hyperbolic, but you get my sentiment, I think. There's a site that tracks it, damn. Yeah, I don't know. GitHub ranked. That's kind of crazy. Cool though. I respect it. I respect it. For sure. No, you're in a sweat lobby? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what it's like in IT? You know what the equivalent is in IT is how many tickets do you do a day? Right? Especially help desk. If you're in help desk, you're like fighting, you know, it's like how many tickets can you do? It's like, oh, I did 20 tickets today. I did 30. GitHub rank sounds so sweaty, yeah. A lot of the work I upstreamed to Arch Linux and other projects I like, nice. Like you contributed to Arch Linux? Is that what you're saying? Because if so, that's wild. But no, like, what was I gonna say? Yeah, in IT, it's all yeah, about 50 times. Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, you're a pro gamer, for sure. I have not committed to anything that wasn't like. I've never committed to open source software that wasn't like something that my friends were doing. Like I'm making software. Like I've contributed on repos that are like projects with other people, but like never open source stuff where I've just decided to commit to it. I've never done that before. Wait, does the guy in IT with the most tickets done get a raise? No, it's just sweats, right? It's just like. You know, it's like how many tickets can you do? And that's just help desk too, because like I work in I'm like mid-level IT, so I'm like tier 2, more like systems and stuff. So the number of tickets I have are way fewer. Like I don't get as many tickets as the help desk guys, right? Because I'm doing like most of my tickets are just for project tracking and stuff. So like I have a bunch of tickets that are ongoing, but it's because they're used for projects that are I'm currently working with users for. You doing a job now too? Yeah, I am. I work in IT, mid-level IT whiskey. But yeah, no. So a lot of my stuff, a lot of my tickets are for like, oh, could you open a ticket to track this project that you're doing with HR? Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Or, you know, what have you, right? And sometimes those tickets are also like, you have multiple agents on those tickets. Like, so if I'm doing a project with like a couple, like another tier 2 person or like a tier 3 person or something like that, like there's gonna be multiple agents on that ticket. But like the tier 1 guys, like help desk, they just like get all the like my mouse is broken tickets sort of thing, right? Or like my monitor isn't working, or Teams is freezing, or whatever it is, right? A lot of the work is exactly that: report, issue, reproduce, then find solutions docs, more than coding. Yeah, that's fair, hated. Yeah, I get that. Does IT ever get boring? It does, absolutely. It does get boring because a lot of the work I have to do is communication between different projects that I'm working on. Like right now at work, I've got about 5 projects on the go, and it's basically just shuffling between those and doing like check-ins for various different things. Like, and I work with various different people on those different projects, and I have to like email them back and like make sure that, you know, we're aligned, whatever, just like we're caught up on certain things, right? I hate that I use corporate lingo kind of, but you know, can't help it, I guess. But yeah, a lot of my day is just emailing people and making sure that they're giving me what I need and I'm giving them what they need. I only actually like do about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of like actual technical work a day. Damn corpy, yeah, exactly. It's true. Although I do work in the government. I'm like government corpy. I'm not like it's kind of more chill. Everyone's a lot happier, I think. We don't get paid as much. Like I get paid like shit for my job description. Like I think my job description, I'm not going to say it just out of privacy, just because I feel like it could give away my workplace and I don't really want to, or at least it could narrow it down and I don't want to do that on the internet. But for my job description, the average salary for like someone working in the private sector is well over 100,000 a year. I'm making not even close to that. It's probably like, yeah, like between 100 and 120,000 Canadian a year, but I make like, it's not even close. I'm not going to say how much I make on the internet, but it's not that. So, but it's enough. It's enough. But like, you know, I like it because it does give me that. I get more work-life balance, and I can do these streams, right? So that's kind of my driving force. Do I get gov benefits? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I get full benefits. Ben's full legal name is Ben Affleck. I've actually, if you go back, I've accidentally leaked my full name before. Well, actually, not my full name, but I've leaked my last name a couple times by accident. Don't go looking for it, though. You won't find it either, unless you want to watch like 500 hours of streams. Maybe not 500 hours, maybe like 400 hours. But yeah, no, like I get full dental coverage because in Canada we get free healthcare, but we don't by default get dental and eye coverage, like eye care. So I get dental, eye care, physio, basically anything. I get all the benefits. They look identical. Do you really? I don't know. I haven't looked at Ben Affleck. Physio, yeah. Like so, if you like in Canada, if you need like to go to physiotherapy, you need to usually pay out of pocket if it's not a medical emergency. Like let's say that you sprained your ankle or something and you need to go to physio. If you didn't have coverage, you'd have to pay for the physio appointments. The doctor can refer you for free, but then you'd need to pay the physio place or therapy or these sorts of things. Oh, physical. Oh, okay, gotcha. We call it physio or chiro, even if it's not chiropractic. Do you live in Toronto? No, I don't. I'm not going to say the city I live in out of privacy, but I do not live in Toronto. Claude review this 400 hours of streams. Yeah, exactly. I want his last name. The reason I don't share my last name is because it's not a common one. My last name's not common. So I don't share it on the internet. Like if my last name was Smith or like Wilson or something, I wouldn't mind because like there are probably so many people named like Ben Smith, you know. But no, my last name would be almost uniquely identifiable, especially in Canada. So I don't want to share it for that reason. So yeah. Ben Smith Wilson confirmed. Yeah. No, but my full legal first name is Benjamin. I'll give you that much. But that's probably not a surprise to anybody. Okay, where were we? I'm kind of like discombobulated. We need to test this, don't we? I think we need to test this endpoint. Drive file update put. So all right, so this is our and then we also need to check for file collisions. That's the other thing we need to do, don't we? We need to check whether we move a file into a location and there's already a file in that spot. That's the other thing we need to check for. Benjamin, come on. Who would have guessed? Yeah, I know, eh? No, it's because there are some people where their legal name is actually Ben. Their legal name is just Ben. I knew a guy in high school named Ben, but his legal name was literally Ben. Like, it said that on his ID. So, I mean, you know. But yeah, no, the other thing that I need to worry about is, I actually need to write that down, is I'll probably put this in planned. So for API/DB, handle potential file collision, name collisions on updates, either renaming or moving. And this is a P0 priority. So I'm gonna put this probably up here, but I'm not gonna do it right away. But that's another thing that we need to consider, I think. I'm just glad Ben broke the coding barrier. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the coding barrier? But yeah, no, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of weird people, and like, I don't want, like, you guys theoretically, if my last name was out there, you could find my LinkedIn, you could find probably like other shit that I've put online that I don't want public. So, I mean, if it's online, it's public, but like public, you know what I mean? You know, if you happen to stumble across my LinkedIn just by my face, then, you know, good for you. But, like, you know the theory, but you're lost when doing the practice. Oh, I see what you mean. What, like with learning specifically? Yeah, I broke the coding barrier a while ago. Okay, so let's actually test this. If that's what you mean. Okay, so let's do this. So let's do let's move. So we have our profile picture inside of documents. Let's try and move our profile picture into this. Now, I don't know how to manage spaces and files. So actually, let's do favicon for simplicity. Let's move the favicon such that it's inside of the journal, right? So we'll move it from the documents to the journal. So the spec that we need for that is we need to give the dir ID of the dir that it's from, right? So we need to give that. So let's go back to our like how Kanye West's name is now just Ye, yeah. I guess kind of like that. Where's the first documents file? I think it's this one. Okay. I think that was already what was in here, right? Yeah. So this is this. And then we're going to do, for our query, we're going to say file name is equal to, oh, and this is a put as well. We need this to be a put. A file name is favicon.ico, and then the, how do you add multiple query items? I forget how to do that. Let's see. HANA request query. Oh, it's an and. It's an ampersand. That's what it is. And then a, what would be the other one? dir2id is equal to, we'll get that one. BenStack. Yeah, instead of like Benjamin, so it's the BenStack. That actually, that kind of rings a bell. So our journal ID is here. This is a beast of a request here. Okay, so this theoretically should move the favicon.ico into the journals folder, from the documents folder to the journals folder, or directory, I should say. So let's give it a whirl. It looks like it worked. And then this now should match our journal. It says it was good. Now let's test. It says there's a conflict. Oh, because I modified it since I last opened the tab. That's fine. So now we can check this. So now let's check that. So this is our first document. I'm actually going to delete the sub documents one because we don't care about that. We're just going to delete this because we don't care about that anymore. But now our file structure should look like this, right? So inside of our documents folder, we should not have the fav icon anymore, right? And we don't. We just have test and profile picture, right? But now if we open up our journal right here, we should have the fav icon in here. And indeed, it's right here. So the move worked. All that. It took about an hour, I would say. But it did work. And then now, we can just test moving it back to, let's move it to the root. Okay? So let's move it to the root. So it's currently in the journal. Okay? So it's in the journal, and then we can move it to the root. And the root is this ID here. The one starting with 133. Okay? Now this should work as well. There, now we moved it. And if we refresh, we should see that we have the fav icon inside the root. And it should be not inside of the journal anymore, which it isn't. We've just got BenStack logo and test. Awesome work. Absolute coding barrier broken. Yes, indeed. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that worked. Now, again, is it perfect? No. Why? Because we could run into collisions, right? Which we're going to deal with this guy. Fourth wall is destroyed, yes. Indeed. Okay, so there we go. So we can move files now. Worked first try too. Yeah, that's because I now okay. So it worked, but we didn't test. We need to test these edge cases. And I know again, Hayden makes a good point. We should write tests for this. However, Streamer is lazy, so Streamer's not going to write. Sorry, I don't mean to do third person, but I'm kind of lazy, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. Manually, but that's okay. Okay, so let's do this. So we're gonna act as if we're moving the file from the root back into the documents here. Okay. Now, if we don't give it a dir2 ID, it should fail. No directory to move given. Okay, good. And if we give it a bogus file name, file with name ASD cannot be found in the directory given. Good. Now, if we give it no file name, no file name given. Let's put the mic closer to the keyboard. Hey, you know what? Funny thing with the mic. I actually use the default. I use the default mic that's built into the MacBook because you know why, and I can tell you why. A, because it's good enough, and B, because a microphone over my keyboard, it kind of distracts me, I find. But I'm gonna probably get a better mic soon. That being said, now that my setup's different, I moved apartments or moved recently-ish. Because I started streaming with a mic, but I was like, you know what, this shit gets in the way and there's noise and this stuff. It's 8:43 p.m. where I'm at, Fari. But yes, now's a good time to admit that I actually have no idea what you're doing, but I just enjoy your company and these satisfying typing sounds. Well, I appreciate that, XLMR. Honestly, that's like half of why I'm here. It's just for company, and if you want to like work alongside me, you know, it also helps. Like if you don't want to chat, but like just leave the stream minimized and muted, like the view time really helps me out. And like now that I have ad money, it really helps out the stream. So if you don't want to chat but you want to lurk, like that lurking really helps. Actually, honestly, I never would have guessed that this was a basic mic from the Mac. Yeah, it sounds decent. Here's the thing. Because I went a whole stream. This is actually the story behind this, and I'm kind of like in between tasks here, so I'm kind of okay to mention this. We need emotes to work in your chat widget thingy. Yeah, Do they not work right now? I guess they don't, eh? No. So it's the built-in chat widget with Streamlabs. Yes, animated emotes. Maybe something will be coming for membership too. I'll do some emotes for membership. But what I was going to say was, what actually was I going to say? Oh yeah, I had a stream where, because I had a mic, okay, and it broke. It wasn't connected for the whole stream, and I had no idea. And it was using the default Mac microphone, okay, inside the webcam, and no one fucking said a word. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just use the default mic, because the other mic, which I inherited, I got it for free. I inherited it. What was I gonna say? It was in the way, right? So I was like, this shit sucks and it's in the way. I don't know how streamers deal with that, like the mic arm like being in the way and stuff. I did order the mic arm off Amazon, but that was like $20. But anyway, I digress on that. But basically, TLDR, I use the default. This one sounds fine, yeah. Now that you've mentioned it, I just now tried to dynamically route my pages, but failed and rage quit. No, that's okay. Honestly, XLMR, if you go back like maybe 50 streams, like I was doing routing, 50, 60 streams. Fun fact, I'm learning anime poses while watching this. That is probably a comment that has never been commented anywhere before, Danny, but I appreciate you. Apple must have at least spent $14 on it, yeah. But no, I mean, again, will I switch to a professional mic again? Probably at some point, but for now, this is fine, and I no one's really complaining, so it is what it is. Okay, so we finished that. So we have file movement. So now we need to do directory movement, which is actually fine, and the reason why is because everything in the subdirectory will move over, because we can just update. So like if we go to our directory, schema, okay, the directory points to its parent, okay? So essentially our directory hierarchy is like a linked list, okay? So if we move one directory to point to another parent, then we're moving everything with it, because all of the subdirectories will point to each other's parents, and then we're just, we're moving that. So realistically, if we move one directory, it'll point to a different parent, and then everything underneath it will be fine, because they'll just be pointing to each other's parents. So the directory movement should actually be fairly easy to implement. Now, of course, we have to have all of those error checks in there, but that should be fairly easy to do. And I think we can do that before the stream ends. And then after that, really, we just have the deletion, and then we're golden, right? So I'm actually going to commit this guy first. We're going to do a commit. We're going to say API DB, write file movement, file update, file move, mint, query, and middleware. Let's just say that. I need to sync those. I keep forgetting to sync my commits. Okay. Anime posing is just body position where characters from anime and manga series. Yeah. I think, I mean, that is true. Which anime poses specifically, Danny, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, so let's do that now. So we're going to write the query. So we're going to do update dir move. And then we're going to get our user ID as well. And our dir ID, or our ID, I guess, is directory entity type. And then it's going to be ID. Oh, it's not in brackets. It's like this. Dude, I cannot type. It's getting to that time. And what was the directory 2 is directory entity type ID as well, right? So that's fine. So if not ID or not dir2 ID. Okay. Oh yeah, and then this needs to be also try-catch, try-caught, I should say. If I can type properly. That's the thing. I will say the one thing that I do get the main thing that I do get fatigued on is I type all day at work. So sometimes my typing, especially near the end of stream, just goes out the window. Mainly learning how a girl will be holding a bag near the chest. Got you. Interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I've never I didn't know anime posing was like legit a thing. Oh wait, no, but you're drawing. You're drawing. Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm tapped in. Okay, so you're drawing anime poses. Yeah. Okay. I was super confused too. I just was like, you know what? To each their own. Yeah, I was like, you know what? To each their own. I'm not here to judge. Okay, now I see. I thought you were just like in your bedroom, just like doing like, you know, missed a verb. Yeah, no. I mean, it could be like a performative thing, like kind of like a cosplay or something. I don't know. I don't do cosplay stuff, or I don't really understand cosplay stuff. I know it's a thing, but I've never like done it before or known anyone that's done it. Naruto run around the table. Yeah. Legit though, there was a kid in my CS degree, because like I did I did my CS degree a little late, so I was 22, 23, and there were these like 17-year-old freshers that were there, and they were like, there was literally a kid Naruto running around campus one time. Nice, Danny, that's awesome. I appreciate you watching. But yeah, it's like no, that stereotype of like, especially like CS kids, like kind of being like anime cringe, like it's definitely real. Like not all CS students are like that, but like a couple for sure. Like there is a subset. Yeah, you can share your work. That's the other thing. If you're working on projects that are not tech related, share them anyway. I don't care if it's art, if it's a game that you've made, whatever it is. I don't care, as long as it's something cool. You can share your shit in the Discord. It doesn't have to be a coding project per se. Okay, let's continue actually writing this query and stop mucking around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const updated dir as well. Is we're going to say await db.update directory entity. Do you know phaser? I know of it. I know of phaser, Rens. I know of it. It's a game development library for JavaScript, right? What was this? .set. And we're gonna do dir ID or parent ID to dir ID2 or dir2 ID. The other thing we need to do is we need to check. Well, actually, no. We're gonna check that first. We're gonna check whether this dir2 ID exists in the middleware, right? So we're going to assume, for sake of example, that this exists coming into this query, right? So we're going to do dot where, and then equals, and then directory entity dot user ID is user ID, and we're going to do the directory entity dot ID is ID. Right? And then we're going to do dot returning, and then we're going to do that new ID, right? This is going to be very similar to the other query that we wrote. Or not file entity, directory entity dot parent ID. Now, I'm going to say if updated dir.id, or parent ID, I should say. Updated dir 0 and then we're going to return updated dir 0. Otherwise, we're just going to return. There we go. So that query should be done. It's pretty very similar logic to this one, just adapted for the directories instead, right? So that's good. And then in here, we're going to say drive dir update put. Sorry, I haven't looked at chat in a second. I'm going to buy a digital tablet to make things better. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, do you have client? Are you in freelance? No, I'm not in freelance yet. Yo, how's it going? The Panable, welcome. But yeah, no, I'm not in freelance. Hopefully someday, Renz. I am doing like small side projects for, I'm doing one for a friend, or I'm helping a friend with a project, and I'm also doing a website for my girlfriend's family. So I've kind of got two separate projects. So if you consider that freelance, but I'm doing it unpaid, so you know, but it's good practice. I think some iPads Pros have pens. Some tattoo artists use these. Yeah, they do. They have like the Apple pencils or whatever they are. Those sorts of deals. And we're just going to get our user in here. Whoops. We need this code. And then we're going to do that. And then we're going to take our break. And then we're going to write this. And then we should be good. So I'm going to do one more Pomo session tonight, folks. After this break. It's kind of crazy how fast 2 hours goes by. But yeah, no, I think it's good because I'm actually getting 12-hour stream. No, I could never. The longest stream I think I could do realistically, like as far as stamina goes, is 4 hours. I don't know how people stream longer than 4 hours. I could see myself getting through a 4-hour stream, but I don't know if I could do much more than that. I think that's like probably my limit. So one project for your friend, one for your girlfriend's family, one personal project on the Odin Project, and a full-time job. Are you a magician? I applaud you. Yeah, I mean, so the website for my girlfriend's family is just a static website, and it's actually being designed by my girlfriend. She is a she's in UI UX, so she's doing the web design. I'm just programming it, and I'm honestly doing it. I'm honestly doing it in vanilla HTML and CSS because they don't need anything other than a static page with links. So I'm like, it's not worth setting up a whole React project, all these sorts of things. So I'm literally just doing it in vanilla as like a hosted page through Cloudflare because like, you know, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It's literally just a landing page for their business. And it's nothing's dynamic. There's gonna be no user sign in, nothing like this. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go dig right. You know, this is a great opportunity to do to dust off some vanilla HTML and CSS. So I'm doing that. And then the project I'm doing for my buddy, my friend, I actually may announce it at some point on this channel because it's kind of tangential to the stuff that I'm working on now. But I'm making a web app for him using my stack as well, which is cool. Well, we're kind of doing it together. He would hate if I said I was doing it for him because I'm doing it with him. So that's cool, and I'm using my stack for that. And again, is it the best solution? Probably not, but it's the one that I know the best, and he trusts me. So we're doing that, and then yeah, and then I'm doing this, of course, and then my full-time job. So yeah, it's a lot of work. You popped off recently? Yeah, I did. It's because I uploaded a clip, Yash, and it got like 25,000 views. So that's what happened. After 133 days, do you feel ready for a junior level full stack job? Honestly, Jamba, if this was 3 years ago, I might. But in the age of AI, I honestly don't. And that's not because I don't feel confident in my skills. I just think that the job market's so fucked. And there's so much demand for, AI proficiency, quote unquote. And that's just something that I'm not ready to really delve into yet. But if this was 3 years ago, probably. Yeah, I do have a full-time job, Yash. Yep. I work in mid-level IT. I don't think you give yourself the credit you deserve. That's still incredible. Well, I appreciate that, XLMR. I don't, and when I say I work on these projects, like for my girlfriend's family, like I've only probably worked a couple hours on that project, and then like the one with my friend, I've probably done a combined 5 or 6 hours on at this point. You've always had it, or you got it recently? No, I've had. You are ready for full stack, says the coding therapist. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you think I'm ready for it. I don't feel ready, but maybe I am. But no, I got my job in May of 2025, right out of school, Yash. I did an internship in IT doing help desk, and I got a return offer because my old boss really liked me, and he brought me back in, and then and then left the company 3 months later. So, gotta love that. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today. So shout out to my old boss. I'm not gonna obviously name anybody, but shout out to him. He was really cool. But yeah, and he was the boss I had when I was an intern as well. But he kind of like let me do other stuff in the internship. Like I was doing help desk, but I was also doing like dashboarding, and I was also helping on other projects and kind of using my scripting skills. Like I was digging into like PowerShell a little bit, and like, so I kind of impressed, I think, in that internship and also it was with like a smaller company, so I could kind of stand out. I was the only IT intern. There was only one. So I could kind of, I had opportunity to kind of show off a little bit, and I did. It really paid off. So, if you do get an opportunity like that, I'd recommend you to kind of flex your skills if you can. Don't be a dick about it. Just like ask for extra shit. Like I know it's like I got paid like nothing doing the internship. Like it was like maybe a few dollars above minimum wage. Like it was nothing. How much have you done much DSA as you've been learning? No, Jamba, but that's only because I did a shit ton of DSA in my degree. I did a shit ton of DSA in my CS degree. So I'm kind of like DSA'd out for a while, I think. But I'm gonna probably, I'm gonna de-rust on that, the DSA stuff at some point. But all right, so let's get back to writing this middleware here. So what do we need from this? So we need we probably need the dir from ID. So the request for this is actually going to be, let's write the router. So we're going to do a drive router dot put /dir ID. And then we're going to take in the move as a parameter, I think. Or not a parameter, as a query item. Or I can even do dir from ID, dir to ID. I could do this. Or I could do the dir to ID as a, I'll do the dir to ID as a query, I think. Is it worth it to do DSA at this point? I think so, just for understanding. Godfrey, appreciate you. Have you managed to stay consistent with learning web dev? Is streaming all a part of it? Yeah, Willie. Streaming is a huge part of the consistency in the community that I've built. It kind of keeps me accountable. And now, I'm not making a lot of money, but I am now making money off of this a little bit. It's not a lot, but, I treat streaming like a part-time job. Even if I'm only making like $15 a stream, $10 a stream, I don't give a shit. It's a little incentive, and also you guys showing up. Like, you know, it really does. It really does help. So yeah, like, I don't know. That's a huge thing. It's a mental shift. Mr. Beast is gaining 100 subs a minute. That actually seems slower than I would have expected. I would have expected Mr. Beast gaining more than that. Are you into vibe coding? My friend. You should do Twitch at the same time. Yeah, I want to, Hated, but the problem is the free tiered plugins for dual streaming are terrible. So to dual stream reliably, I need to pay like fucking a subscription. So I might reinvest money from the channel into that when I actually get paid off of YouTube. Have I ever thought about joining some competitions or hackathons? Not yet, but maybe someday. Okay, let's actually write this damn thing. So we're going to do our const dir2. So dir2 ID. And we're going to say c.rec.query dir2 ID. And then the other thing that we need is the const dir ID, dir2 move ID is equal to c.rec.param. Is it param like this? Yeah, dir ID, I think. I'll just call it dir ID for consistency. Okay, so then now what we're going to do is we're going to say if not dir ID, return c.json success, false, message is no directory to move given. And then if not dir2 ID will be a very similar deal. I think kind of having these as guard clauses rather than the way we structured it here is kind of a better method. I don't like these curly braces. I can just do it like inline. No directory to move to. Something like this. So these are kind of like guard cases. Okay, but the thing is, can OBS do this natively? No, it can't. Hate it. It needs plugins. At least as far as I know. You can do it for free. It just sucks. Yeah, exactly what Salty said. Yash says, okay, but the thing is, I kind of use AI as like a teacher. Yeah, you can do that. Am I using a split keyboard? No, I'm not, Ninja. I'm using it's actually plugged in right now, but this is the keyboard right here. Yeah, to get quality, you got to pay for Restream. Yeah, Restream I think is like 25 to 30 Canadian dollars a month. But if I start making reliable YouTube paychecks, even if it's only like a couple $100s a month, I'm going to reinvest it into the channel. So I will do probably dual streaming in the next month or two when I hit that when I get that payment, because there's a whole bunch of hiccups with getting paid for YouTube. I had to set up like a different bank account. I had to set up all my tax information. I had to do a whack of shit, and I had to set up all sorts of things. But I think I got it all ready to go. I just need to confirm my address. A bunch of steps. I don't know if you've ever been monetized on YouTube, but there's a whole bunch of bullshit you got to go through before you actually get paid. Or you can pay for Slobs Ultra, I think it's called, and do that as well. I could look into my options, Salty, for sure. But I don't mind paying if I'm reinvesting the YouTube money, which I'm going to. I'm going to reinvest it into dual streaming and other quality of life stuff for the stream. Whether it's eventually a new mic or a new webcam or whatever it is. I don't know. But it will be reinvested into this for now. It's always so tempting to use AI for concepts and solutions, but I feel like manually searching up things through Google will always be the better learning opportunity. I agree with you, Carl. I 100% agree with you. Okay, so now we have this. So we need to do the const dir And this is giving us what? Just the parent ID. Oh, you know what we need to do too is we need to check that this exists, right? So we need to check that this exists too. So we need to do const dir2 exists is equal to await db, and then this is going to be another drive query dot select dir by ID and then dir2 ID. Oh, and the user as well. And then if not dir2 exists, we're gonna also return here. Oh, not z.success. False, and then message is directory to move to cannot be found. Something like this. Okay, now we can actually do the thing. Dir moved is equal to await drive query dot update dir move. We need the user ID. We need the dir ID, and we need the dir2 ID. And then we can say if dir moved. Otherwise, we return c.json success is false, and we'll say message is directory could not be moved or something like this, right? We should also be returning return codes as well with this. That's the other thing I should probably do. So if I put here, I'll say API middleware, add middleware to success failure, or add return codes. I'll make this a P1 item as well. So that's another thing I'm just going to add to the backlog here. What about stream elements? I'm using stream elements. Sorry, you are a genius. Thank you, Trunktan. Or trucked ran. Sorry. No, the plugins do not work well. I've tried them. But no, I'm using stream elements. I think it's, yeah, Streamlabs. I use Streamlabs. What's the window on the left for? This is my plan for my project. So I have different tasks which have a topic of what they require, or like what they're involving, and then I have a description, and then I have a priority tag. So priority 0 is like absolutely necessary for the product. Priority 1 is like very nice to have, and I should include it, and then priority 2 is like would be nice to have, not necessary. So that's what it is. It's for project planning. So yeah, P0 tasks are like absolutely necessary. P1 is like I should add, and then P2 is like optional if we have extra time. These sorts of things. It's just what I use for project planning, really. And then if we dir move, then we'll do return c.json success is true, and then we'll give back the dir moved as data. So that's good. I think that is all we need for the middleware, right? And then we have our router hooked up here and our query. So we can give that a go. So let's try, let's go back to our, this is what our current thing looks like. So what we could do, so we have the directory journal inside of documents. But what we could try to do is we could try to move the journal into the root, right? So we could try to move the journal so that it's underneath, that it's sister with documents instead of underneath documents. So that could be our first test, because this is what our current test file system looks like, right? And again, should I write comprehensive testing for this? 100%. Am I doing it? Not right now. What's the theme? There is a command for that. Binnick. Oh, Salty's on it too. Salty, I should just leave it to you, man. I appreciate you being like so punctual with that. Okay. So, we're gonna do. Yeah, no worries, no worries. So we're gonna do drive dir, and then our what do we need here? So we have our in our controller. What are we getting? So the parameter is the dir ID, and then the query is the dir2 ID, right? So let's say we want to move journal. So right now journal is inside of documents, right? Because if we go to the documents directory entity, we can see that the journal entity, if I get the name, or sorry, no. Where is this? Yeah, so if we go to the journal, what the journal's parent is, we can see that the parent ID of the journal matches that of the documents, right? 2B6, they match. Salty Defo, a Reddit mod. You're from Brazil? Nice to meet you. No, from Brazil. That's awesome. Cool. So now we're going to move it so that these will both be 133. From Australia or Austria? Trong. Because that could be Austria or Australia. But welcome in either way. Australia, nice. Actually, you know what's funny about that is not very few of my viewers are from Australia, so it's nice to see an Aussie in chat. That's awesome. But yeah, so okay, so drive dir, and then we're gonna get the directory of the journal, and then we're gonna do query dir2 ID is equal to this guy. So now this should move everything inside of the journal subdirectory in just underneath the root. Recommended system leads me here, bro. Yeah. That's awesome. I appreciate that you clicked on the stream, because my click-through rate on my streams, guys, is about 3.5%, and that's my fault because I don't put thumbnails because I'm too lazy. But my click-through rates are around 3.5 to 4% depending on the stream, which is really low. But I don't give a shit because I have enough of an audience, so it's fine. But maybe thumbnails someday. But I also just like hate designing thumbnails. I'm not gonna lie. It's annoying. Okay, so this theoretically now should move the journal from underneath the documents to underneath the root. Aha, so we have a 404 not found. So drive /dir/ this. Okay, so then what is our problem? /dir/ dir ID. I wonder if we have it as a put. Oh, because we didn't give it middleware. Of course. We didn't give it middleware. Bruh. Now that should work. Actually not so bad considering short slot brains. Yeah. The average view duration on the stream is pretty good too. Like the average view duration is around 5 minutes, which is actually, you'd think that's bad, but it isn't. 5 minutes as an average view duration is not terrible. I don't think. I know that's like heavily offset by people like clicking for 20 seconds and leaving versus like people that stay for the whole stream. So it kind of evens out. But as far as like, 5 minutes is not too bad. It's between 4 and 5 minutes, I should say. But when I started out, it used to only be like 1 minute. So, I've improved it quite a bit. Just have AI make the thumbnail. No, all the thumbnails you see on my channel are all made by me in an app called Photopea. I don't know if you guys know Photopea. But I use it for, where is it? Where would it be under anyway? Online editors, yeah, here, Photopea. I use this guy because I'm too lazy to like buy anything. But I use this and it works just fine. I fell asleep here doing my part. Appreciate that, Hated. I don't care as long as you know the lurk helps. No, it's not bad. Photopea is not bad. I will say it's definitely serviceable. So I use it for my thumbnails. Okay, so now that we've actually added the middleware, this damn thing should work, right? Okay, so there we go. So now we see that and I'm like one-shotting these, by the way, guys, not to brag, but I've one-shotted twice tonight. But this seems to have worked, right? So now the journal, now our structure should look like this. Our structure should be like this now. Actually, yeah, it should be like this. That's what our structure should now look like. One shot, no scope legend yet. Indeed. But now let's just check the database to make sure that it worked. So we can refresh, and we can now see that they both point to the root, right? The journal and documents both have parent as the root. And if I go to my directory under entities under here, we can see that the parent is the root, right? And then underneath, we have documents and journal underneath the root, right? Perfect. 360 ladder shot. Yup. Now we'll test the error conditions. Okay. So let's test without a query. So if we don't give a query, it'll say no directory to move to given. Good. That's what we wanted. And then now if we give it a directory to move to that doesn't exist, let's just do like let's do like 3B7A or something like that, 3B7A, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is, right? Okay, so we got an internal server error. Interesting. And that's from the actual query. Failed query. Okay, so this is interesting. So this didn't catch this. Directory to move to cannot be found. So this error here should have caught that error there, right? But it didn't. So that's one thing, because it hit the database, which is why we're getting this error here. Because there was a type mismatch. So let's test the other point. So if we say no directory to move given, then this should theoretically work. Oh no, it just doesn't even find it. Doesn't even find it because you need that query, that param anyway. So it's fine. We should also actually check that the dir ID exists too, yeah? Now that I think about it, we should probably test that both things. My favorite sleep content. We need to actually probably duplicate this. So dir ID, and then dir exists, and then directory to move cannot be found as well, right? So we also need this. I apologize if you can hear noises in the background. My girlfriend just got home from work. JS error stacks, yeah, it's kind of bullshit. No AI is so attractive. You'll never see him use AI to create code. Yes. Robbery in the background, yeah, indeed. Absolute robbery. No, it's okay. We're almost done anyway. Yeah, my girlfriend just got home from work. And we kind of have like no. We have an open, like my office is kind of like an open concept. It's like I don't know if you guys know what like a den is, like a den, but it's like kind of like the office is like a little room off to the side of the main like living kitchen area, but it doesn't have a door. So it's kind of all like one big space. It's a 1+ dens bedroom. It's a 1-bedroom. Open relationship. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. But no, it's a 1-bedroom. It's a 1-bedroom plus den, which is where my girlfriend in my office is. So that's where I'm streaming from. But yeah, so let's, okay. Let's go to, let's see. Let's give it a bogus directory. You know what we should do is we should do a UUID generator. So let's do that actually. Random UUID generator. Just to give it some bogus one. Right? And then let's go send. Yeah, directory to move cannot be found, which is fine. And now if we do a bogus directory to ID, let's refresh to generate a new one. But then we put in a valid ID here. Then maybe this will work. Because if the type was wrong, we'll find out, I guess. Yeah, directory to move to cannot be found. But the other thing we need to check is that the dir2 exists is of the right UUID type. So if we give a dir2 ID as like a non-UUID, like if we just say hello, it'll give us an error. Why? Because it's expecting a UUID when it's not. Keep it up. I appreciate that, Mike. So yeah, so the reasoning is because if we give it a valid UUID that doesn't exist, it'll give us that error, right? Like, so if I copy this guy and put it back here, it'll say directory to move to cannot be found, which is what we want. However, if we try to drive query select dir by ID and this dir2 ID is not a UUID, so this string restriction is not strict enough, right? So yeah, can use DOD to validate or catch exception for database error. Yeah, you can, absolutely. And that's something that I will do, you know, going forward, I think. Funny part of stack trace here probably tells you exactly where to add validation. Yeah, it's in the, so this error is thrown from the database, specifically. So if I go to, so you can see auth controller, where is it? No, drive controller line 172, which is right here, which is exactly where you'd expect it to be. And then you can also see it from the drive queries line 120. If I go to drive queries line 120, we get this right here, select dir by ID. And obviously this would error out because it's expecting that this ID is of the right type, right? So I could do type checking inside of, you know, inside of these, and you know, that's something I could implement. I'm just kind of lazy. But our TS files and TSX files the same thing? No, so TypeScript files are only TypeScript, right? And TSX are TypeScript files that allow you to, I think the difference is that you can return a templated like JSX or TSX. Like, so for example, in my web here, if I go to source and I go to my routes and like my sign up or whatever, the stuff that I'm returning here, this is called TSX, right? So this is kind of like a templated, it's like a mix kind of between HTML and TypeScript sort of thing. Can you control click those line numbers to jump to them? Maybe I can. I actually have never tried that. Let's try that. Oh yeah, you can. The more you know, Salty. But anyway, so that's gonna do it, I think, for today. I'm gonna deal with that. I'm actually gonna leave myself a comment just so that I have it. So I need to validate. Actually, I'm gonna do that here. To do validate that dir ID and dir2 ID are UUIDs and not just any string. Something like this. Add comment to do there. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for having us. Of course. Master Phil says, hi, can I ask what auth system you use? I use BetterAuth. So yeah, you can find that you know, online. It's just BetterAuth. That's the auth system I'm using. So I just integrated basic email and password authentication. But yes. So if you want to read details about my project, guys, just as I'm going here, you can go to my working on page, and this is a paste bin full of a brief description of the project with everything that I feel like you need to know to get caught up, at least specifically at a high level. You can also read my FAQ there, as Salty mentioned. Join the Discord as well if you want to stay up, if you want to stay in touch with my streams and get stream updates and these sorts of things. What's my favorite IDE? I don't actually use an IDE, Santiago. I use VS Code, which is the one I'm using. But I don't really know. I wouldn't say I have a favorite. But I use VS Code. But anyway, so if you want to follow along on my journey, I'd really appreciate it if each and every one of you that isn't subscribed would subscribe. That would mean the world to me. Join the Discord for stream updates, these sorts of things. And I'll catch you all. I'm not going to be live tomorrow or Sunday. I'll be live again Monday evening, probably, or Monday evening. So I'll see you then, and have a great rest of your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are, and thanks for coming.